Good day, and welcome back to the Vitality Project. I'm Dr. Bob, and I want to thank you for joining me today. Thank you. Yesterday, we took a long, hard look at what I think of as a very curious relationship, and it's inside each one of us. And it's between what we're calling here the depressor. That's the part of us that tells us that we're no good or maybe never enough. A relationship between that energy, the depressor, and another energy or voice, which we've been calling the fixer. And it's the fixer who dives in to rescue us from the awful feelings that are associated with the depressor. But as we're beginning to find out, there's a fly in the ointment of many of our attempted fixes. What the fixer does, which is self-improvement, isn't all bad, but sometimes it backfires. And in fact, sometimes what happens is that when the fixer gets activated, it's met with only further rebuttal and renewed opposition by the depressors. So they get into a tug of war. I think the best way to understand what we're talking about here, which may at first glance seem confusing or maybe even counterintuitive, where when we strengthen the depressor, Scott, let me say that differently. When we strengthen the fixer, we actually can, by trying to push away the depressor, we can actually add fuel to the fire for the depressor, and and vice versa. So that when we get really caught up in the depressor and push away the fixer, we get lost in the depressor. When we try to fix the depressor, it actually backfires on us, and the depressor gets more activated. So what the heck do we do? It's a very crazy and powerful internal dilemma for all of us. And what I want to do is I want to do an exercise today that will hopefully give us some insight into this dynamic. And we're going to be calling it the depressor fixer cycle. Common sense would say is that when I'm depressed, when I'm down on myself, I need to fix that. But I have to be careful how I go about the fixing, or I can actually add fuel to the depressor's fire. So for today, what I'd like to do is ask you to start by writing down a recent experience that really activated what we've called your red alert brain. So you moved out of resting brain into a place of serious distress. And when you've thought of a time where you got activated that way with the red alert brain, right underneath that, I want you to write down that experience, first of all. And then right underneath that, I want you to write down 2 or 3 depressor thoughts that may have directly followed on that experience of red alert activation. Now, let me give an example. One depressor thought would be, I'm not good enough. Maybe something's happened where you stepped on somebody's toes in a relationship inadvertently, and then in comes the depressor thought, I'm not good enough. Next, I want you to describe how your distress manifested in your body, in your thoughts, and in your emotions. So for example, you might write down underneath that, my thoughts feel cluttered and racy. I feel tightness in my gut, in my abdomen, and I feel this kind of aching self-doubt. I mean, we can just go down and you can make the list. I'm listing things that come up for me. Now see if you can remember some fixer ideas that may have emerged when you were kind of lost in these depressor thoughts. The fixer comes in, and let's say that somebody said something to you and made you feel bad. And you felt it in your body, you felt it in your thoughts, you felt it in your emotions. The fixer comes in and says, I'll really show him. Or maybe the fixer says, I just need a drink. I next want you to identify any fixer activities. We just talked about fixer ideas. Now, fixer activities such as, well, I just threw him under the bus with a colleague that we share in common. That'd be an example of a fixer activity. Or here's another one. I gave myself full permission for several stiff cocktails over lunchtime. It's another attempted fix, okay? And then finally, I want you to make note of any depressor responses that you noticed as this whole cycle, the depressor fixer cycle, as it wraps back around to the beginning again. What are the depressor thoughts that follow on your fixer activities right there? So it could be something like, I feel simply awful. after complaining about this person to someone else and doing it with such vengeance or bitterness. Or another depressor response might be, I'm such a loser around pretending that I can even begin to control my drinking. These are just examples to kind of hopefully prime the pump for you. So dive into this exercise. Let's see what you discover, and we'll come back tomorrow and continue moving forward to figure out how we can manage this depressor fixer cycle in our lives. It's an important key to managing our distress, as well as being able to protect our sobriety. So that's the goal here. All right. Well, I want to thank you again for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again. In the meantime, please stay safe, be well, and I'll see you again soon.